Hey, what's up? Welcome to a very long overdue live stream. Please let me know if you can hear me. Just want to make sure that you all can hear me. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Welcome to a Mixed Vixen live stream. I am your host, Queen. Hey boo, if you are new here, and if you are not new here, thanks for coming through. I appreciate you. I have not been on YouTube in a minute due to a few things. So actually I made a little agenda. So let's do that. So today we are going to talk about life updates. I have some updates about where I've been and all of that, what I've been doing, what's been going on behind the scenes. Not too personal because I don't get into my business like that, but you know what I mean. Then also we're going to talk about all of my thoughts um about the election. So from when Biden resigned from, is it a resignation? Whatever. When he dropped out of the race to Kamala becoming the new candidate. We're going to get into Kamala hate, and then I want to get into some issues I have with non-voters. And when I say non-voters, I'm talking about folks who have the legal right to vote. There are people in this country who cannot vote because they are not a citizen or because they were formerly incarcerated. That's something that happens state by state. So I want to make it clear that when I say non-voters, I am not talking about that population at all. Okay. Um, I forgot to post this on Instagram and the Twitter. So let me do that real quick. That's what that time clock was for, so that I could do all my last minute stuff and still ain't do it. But hold on really quickly. Where is the link? Um while I'm doing that, in the chat, let me know how y'all been, how you're doing, who you are, if you want to talk, where you from. I see you, Julian. You are always in the chat. I appreciate you for always supporting and joining my lives. Let me add this on the Twizzles real quick. Join me. All right. Okay. Did all of that promo stuff that I should have did before. Yes. So we went through the agenda and what we will be talking about. Actually, let me put my phone on D&D because already, look at my boyfriend blowing up my phone. When I told him 1 o'clock, don't listen. All right. Okay, boo, you gotta shut up. Mama's at work. Right. So these are what we are talking about today. And yeah, so this is just my thoughts on the election and whatever. These are thoughts. These aren't like highly researched. This is all of my thoughts. Okay, thoughts and feelings. All right, and I want to know your thoughts and feelings too, because it has been a roller coaster in the past few weeks as far as Democratic politics. So now, first, we're going to get into me, where I've been at, what I've been up to. So if you have been following, I have said it on videos, but you know, sometimes you miss stuff and that's totally fine. So I haven't been on YouTube for 2 months. One, because my laptop just decided that it didn't want to work anymore. And for some reason, it's still a functioning laptop, but my Mac does not, I can't connect anything to it. So if I put an external hard drive on it, I can't. If I attach a webcam to it, it doesn't work. If I attach a microphone to it, it does not work. And I am, well, not anymore, but I was unemployed. So my money was not for me to be fixing a laptop. The money that I had was for me to keep up on my bills. So I had to take a pause from creating content because of that. And I wasn't going to stress myself out and rush that or try to figure it out or borrow money for that, because I didn't think that made any sense. I think it made more sense for me to do the things to sustain my life rather than doing things to sustain a platform that I love and enjoy, but that I can always come back to. And, that's just what it is. And if I'm a person who is practicing, rest and practicing sustainability and practicing, this is driving me crazy that my necklace is like this. Connect. Okay, there we go. And talking about these ways in which I do not want to participate in grind culture and capitalism, then that means that if I have to take a break, I'm going to take a break. So that's what I did with that. And within that process, I am happy to say that I have found a new job. So I am now employed again, which takes a lot off of my plate. Not being employed and not having an income really fucks with your creativity. And I don't I've never proclaimed and I don't advise anyone to be a starving artist. I don't know why that is the story that people prefer to tell. No. I like having a full-time job. I like having medical benefits. The benefits at my job currently are great. That's one of the reasons why I chose that job. And yes, I'm not one of them people who is I quit my job to do YouTube full time. No, that's not me. And until I get to a place where I have all the things that I have with a W-4 job, I'm going to have a job. I'm not going I don't want to have to hustle to create. I like to create the things I want to create at the timeline I want to create them. I do not care to chase an algorithm. I do not care to chase a dollar. Like, at least not in the creative sense. Obviously, I'm chasing a dollar because of an employment, but because employment, but no, I do not. That's not my thing. I mean, where's my outline? Hold on. So I can make sure I stay on track. My bad, y'all. Okay. So yes, my new job, I am still in the HR space, but I am a people and culture manager for a nonprofit called Vocal US. And Vocal US is a nonprofit that advocates, organizes legislation, and also provides services for people who have substance abuse issues, who are houseless, and also folks who live with HIV. So I'm really excited for this new venture and kind of this new area of advocacy and organizing nonprofit work that I'll be doing. The last nonprofit I worked for was called Kids Creative, and we were all about peace education programs for children. So now I'm moving on to another space that still has the same similar kind of conflict resolution, restorative justice kind of theme to it. So I'm excited. And I'm happy to find something that I enjoy. So yeah, so that's what's going on with me. I'm excited about that. Also, while I was gone for this 2 months, I did a lot of guest spots. I also did some things on, well, not something, just one thing. But I also on my Patreon did a live stream talking about Tyler and race. I did that on Patreon. It's a Patreon exclusive. If you want to catch that, you have to join my Patreon. Just the $2 and up tier, the Habu tier. And I talk about the nuances of Tyler and race and how I think that a lot of us have very limited idea of what race is and don't understand that race is a construct, but then also don't understand that race, as far as Blackness is concerned, is not just a race, it's also an ethnicity. If you are a Black American person, being Black is also an ethnicity. It's not just the color of your skin. And I think that's something people, mess up. And I also talk about how people use Blackness, and I'm talking about ethnically Black people, Black American people, as the measure of what cool is. And that's what they're doing with Tyler. So if you want to see that full video, join my Patreon at the $2 and up tier, and you can get into that. It was a really good conversation. Also, yeah, just watch that. Just watch that if you are interested in that. Also, I was on Julian's channel. This is the second time he had me on his channel, and we were talking about gentrification in the Bronx. Um, I will have a link to that video in the description box. I'm going to add that after. I forgot to add them before. Great video. It's also going to be on public television. So I'm going to be on TV and all of that. But please check that out. Me and Justin did a wonderful job with that video. And it's not just video essay style. He does his thing with a lot of B-roll and stuff like that. So please watch that video. And then I was also on a guest on Strangers Fruit podcast. They also have a YouTube channel. And I was on 2 episodes of Strangers Fruit, and it was a whole series about Palestine. There were other people in that series. This particular episode that I was on, we were talking about, should Black people care about Palestine? And it's obvious that I feel we should. I do have a whole video about Palestine on the channel. I should probably put that in there too. That didn't get a lot of views, so I'll put that in there so you can check that out. And I also was on another episode of that called America, Democracy, or a Fascist Country. And that is kind of self-explanatory what I say there. So thank you for Donovan for having me on that. So I've been doing some things. I just cannot create my own content. So if you missed me, if you want to catch up with me, yeah, you can look at those things and I will have them linked. I did share them in my community tab. I don't know how much I use the community tab, but that is there. So please take a look at that. All right. So now I want to get into hold on. Oh, here, okay. So yeah, so I want to get into. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I have a automatic feeder for my cat, and it talks, and it's me talking. So you might be able to hear that. I'm just let that pass. All right. Okay. So let's get into Kamala. So let's talk about whether we think Kamala, Vice President, that's her title. I be talking like she one of my girlfriends. Vice President Kamala Harris, if you think she will win. I do think she will win. I will be honest and say that at first, the switch up, Joe Biden resigning or no longer running for president for a second term, and her coming in made me nervous as fuck. One, because more unprecedented times, and I'm just tired of that shit. I've come to realize that as a marginalized person, though, that is our existence. Time is just like that. All times are unprecedented if you are a marginalized person, and I'm coming to terms with that. But I've never seen no shit like that before, so that made me nervous. Also, I was getting upset with some of the conversation around Joe Biden and how quickly people were willing to throw him away because of his obvious age and honestly his obvious disability. I don't think people understand that everyone at some point in their life will be disabled, and obviously I don't know his diagnosis, so I'm like I said, I'm talking with feelings during this stream, right? But there's obviously that something isn't right. I shouldn't say right, but you get what I'm saying. So it did make me uncomfortable to see people's reactions to this old person deteriorating. It made me think of how we treat old people in general, how we just throw them away, how capitalism makes us treat old people because they cannot work for us anymore, because they cannot produce in the system anymore. We throw them away. So that made me uncomfortable, although I'm never really caping for a white man, especially not Joe Biden, because he is not. He wrote the crime bill. And he's the reason why we have fucking who's in Clarence Thomas in the fucking whatever Supreme Court. Yes, thank God words. So yes, that just made me uncomfortable. It also made me uncomfortable because I did watch the debate that Biden had with Joe. And it was really wild to me how much the media focused on Joe's ability or lack thereof ability, where he was standing on a podium next to a person who was just lying for how long? Like, we dead ass are okay with a fucking liar just lying about everything, and the whole media was going to focus on the ability of this other person. It just didn't make any sense to me. And it also showed how we treat older people, how we treat disabled people, that a fucking person running for president could stand there and lie, and the media focused on Joe Biden. It also shows how much Trump has or had, I think it's getting a little loose, has the media in his hands. Like, they wanted the story to go that way. Trump's administration wanted the story to go that way. So that made me uncomfortable. I'm glad I was wrong about the switch to Kamala, from Kamala running for president versus Joe Biden. I'm happy to be wrong. I am very comfortable and okay with being wrong, because that shit made me nervous. Made me so nervous. Um, yeah, it did. Also, why I think she could win, honestly, is because she is actually qualified for the position of president. Saying qualified does not mean that I like her and that I want her to be president. Qualified means, remember, I work in the HR space, means that she checks the boxes of what is qualified to fill a role. I just want to make that clear, because sometimes people don't even know what words mean. She's qualified to do the job. She checks all of the boxes of what is needed to be the president of the United States of America. Now, your feelings about the president or about her are other conversation that we will get into during this stream, but she is qualified to be the president, especially if we know that Donald Trump, someone who was completely unqualified, was able to get the position. She's qualified for the role. So in that way, I think she can win. Also, she's polling really fucking well. She's changed the narrative. So I think the Trump administration was banking on, or the Trump campaign was banking on, the fact that they was going to use ageism and basically ableism to win this race. That is what their whole campaign was going to be about. It was not going to, because Trump, he's not qualified. So that is what was going to be their whole campaign. Now that Kamala's in this space, they don't know what the fuck to do now. They have to rework everything that they planned for their presidential run, because now Trump is the oldest president, the oldest running president ever in the history of this country. All of the shit that they were going to use to discredit Biden can now be used on Trump. And I can see that being something great for her and her winning. Also, I'm never that prepared. The way that Joe Biden resigned, and then all of a sudden Kamala just had this commercials that, like, she was so fucking prepared. I wish I could be that prepared for something. She was prepared. I don't know if this is the shit she had in her hard drive from when she was trying to run for president last time, but that bitch came for prepared with the shit, because she is qualified to be the president of the United States. So I do think she can win. I do understand doubting, because she's a black person, because she's South Asian, because she is a woman, because these are things we never said before. But I'm all about thinking abundantly, and the shit is possible. I never thought Obama would be president. He was. I never thought Donald Trump. I'm from New York. I'm a New Yorker. I've heard of Donald Trump my whole fucking life. I never thought Donald Trump would be the fucking president. And he is. So who, like, girl, get it. Now, whether we like her as a candidate or like her policies is something different, but she can definitely be the fucking president of the United States. Like, she could do the job. She's way more qualified for the position than fucking Donald Trump. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is the Kamala hate. And I don't believe in standing for politicians. I have never stand a politician. I was excited about Barack Obama when he was running because it was something I never saw before. I also didn't know as much as I do now about Democratic politics because that was a fucking long time ago, right? I've grown and I know a lot more about Democratic politics. I also have done away with the idea that representation matters in that way. I don't believe in that. So it's definitely different or whatever. But I don't believe in standing politicians. And you should critique politicians. You should hold these motherfuckers to the fire because you are essentially hiring them to create policies and laws and create the standard of which everyone in your city, state, country should live by. So all critiques of Kamala to me, well, not all of them, most critiques of Kamala like are fine. Keep them coming. If you don't like some of her policy, if you don't like question it. Like those things will not change if we don't shake it up, if we don't question it, if we don't poke at it, if we don't say this is not what I like. That stuff is fine and welcome. And that is stuff that I do. There are some things about her record that and like I said, this is not a stream where we're gonna like go deep into her policy and stuff like that. This is all thoughts and feelings. That's what this stream is for. Thoughts and feelings. My thoughts and feelings about this election so far. I'm seeing, and it's lots of TikTok videos, YouTube videos, or whatever, of some people who are Kamala stans and some people who are just into bringing out the truth, kind of I will not say debunking, but I would say chipping away at some of the ideas that like she's a cop. I'm a person who says that anyone who is the president is a cop. Like like they're all cops. The vice president is also a cop. So like none of that is far-fetched or different or whatever the fuck. But she is not a special cop because she was a prosecutor. I feel like everyone in the executive branch is a cop, right? So that to me is not something that makes me decide to not vote for Kamala, right? And then there's other specific things about her record that, you know, she was attorney general when a lot of these things happened. So like she was leading the space, but she's not the one directly who was making some of the decisions. So that's some stuff that's been cleared up. But like I said, I do see everyone in that branch as cops. Like Obama was a cop. So for me, the idea of like, oh, you know, she's a cop and that's why I'm not going to vote for her doesn't quite stand for me. Yeah, it just doesn't. And then also like people from California. I have a friend who lived in California, Kamala's whole time there. I think she lived in California. She lived in Oakland for like 18 years, 15 years. I don't know. One of my closest friends. And their perception of Kamala as a prosecutor, as attorney general, whatever, was that she was soft on crime and that she wasn't as hard on crime as other folks before her, after her, or whatever the heck. So for us, people who want to abolish the police and so on and so forth, it would make sense that we see her as a cop, and that is just like the deciding factor where we say no. But for the standard of the United States, where this country runs on a tough on crime politic, always has, I would say tough on crime was before, I think it was Nixon, whoever was before Reagan. This has been a tough on crime country. It's not new that Kamala is kind of just parroting. According to Californians, she wasn't tough on crime anyway, but that is something that's parroted and is a part of every administration for someone being a president. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about some of my feelings, right? Then the other thing is that I don't like that she was a prosecutor. And that's a fair thing to like, but it is important for us to like fully flesh that thought out, because her running for president just makes her the top cop. That's what that does. That's what that is. So I just want us to flesh that out a little bit more. There are some things that people are pointing out. I'm seeing this on TikTok. I've seen this on Twitter. And I've also seen this a little bit from Trump's people as reasons not to like her and not vote for her, which are very weird and have nothing to do with like a stance on policy, politic, or anything like that. And it is one, I've seen a few of this on Twitter, is that because she doesn't have biological children, which is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard. I don't know. Actually, I do know how that comes about. Like, people really discount people without children. I am an adult without children. I actually am an adult who does not plan to have biological children. I do mother kids. My current boyfriend has children and I'm really involved in that, but I don't really care to have biological children. That's not something that I have to do to fulfill myself, and I can understand that being a choice of someone else, but also we don't know if that's Kamala's choice. Some things are chosen for you because of biological reasons, and if that is why you think someone should not be the president, you don't make any sense. And that's illegal. That's fucking illegal. You cannot not hire someone because they don't have children. That's actually fucking illegal. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. The other thing that I've been seeing, and it's because people are weird about race. And when I say people, I say black people, because y'all are the only ones I care about. Very weird about race. Whether she's black or not. That's the thing that's fucking weird to me. I am going to start with even Trump saying that when he was at the that conference, the National Black whatever thing for journalists, for black journalists, where they had Trump there, and he, in black people's faces, said she was not black, which was ridiculous. And I don't. This is why I don't like having public conversations about race, because, well, white people, not because I care about what white people think, but because for some reason they think that's a part of their business. That's not his business. We determine, black people determine who is black and who is not fucking Donald Trump. Yes, the D9 girlies are working fucking overtime. Actually, you know what? Let me look at some of these comments and see what y'all are saying here. I just want to put this on the screen. We've kind of talked about this already, but Nicole, yes, like, that doesn't make her less of a cop. The president of the United States is the top cop. What are y'all talking about? And honestly, for me, unless you are like an abolitionist, a prison abolitionist, or someone whose politic is like really stark against it, I feel like people are just saying this to have something to say. They don't really believe this. They don't. If someone broke into your house right now, you will want and stole your shit, you will want them to go to prison. You would not want to find a different pathway to resolve that harm. You would not. So, like, I just need people to say that shit with their chest. It's really annoying for me. It's really fucking annoying. Let's see what else going on in here. It didn't even come off as racist. It was racist when Trump said what he said. I do not, to the life of me, ever want to include white people in conversations about race at all. They don't have the range. Shut up. why are you talking to me? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. It was extremely racist. And also, he himself has said he's other nationalities. He said he was Swedish when he's not. He said he was German when he's not. He has picked which nationality, which white nationality to be to appease people. I'm a New Yorker. Like I've seen your shit. Like he's this. I don't even. You know what? This is not about him. I don't like talking about that man. I do not like talking about that man. Okay. So yeah, so now when it comes to black people and race about Kamala and stuff like that, there is a small set of people who say they will not vote for her because she's not fully black. And that is just the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my life. If you base your politics based on race, it's weird. You don't actually engage with democratic politics. You engage with the aesthetics of politics. You engage with what politics look like. You don't actually fucking care about policy laws and shit like that. You don't. And then it's interesting to see a lot of this coming from black men. And y'all like mixed women every other time. You want an exotic, not all the way black person any other time. But when it comes to Kamala, is all of a sudden it's like she not all black. And when y'all be the ones making all the mixed bitches. Okay, let me not call y'all bitches. But y'all be the ones making all the mixed babies. Majority. More black men date outside their race than white women. I mean, than black women. Y'all are the one who are making these not all the way black children. So what are you talking about? It makes no sense. I don't get it. It's ridiculous. The other thing that's silly is, and I'm speaking specifically to black American people because I don't know the nuances of this for other people in the diaspora, but every black American knows somebody who says that they know somebody, that they are a black person who got Indian in their family because you are trying to exotify yourself. And it is the anti-blackness in you that wants you to make you feel a little more special, to not just be a regular black American person. And we actually have a black person with Indian in their family. And y'all are like, nah, that's not black. Like, what is it? I thought we wanted a black person with Indian in their family. Like, I thought that's what we liked. I thought that was our shit. I thought that's what I don't know. I thought that's what we liked. So all of that has been really interesting to me. There are solid and very specific reasons to hold Kamala Harris to the fire. If you have stance on, I did this eyebrow really dark, but whatever. If you have stark stances against Palestinian or foreign policy, if you have huge concerns about policing in this country, if you have huge concerns about the border crisis, like these are really big reasons why you should hold this woman to the fire. Y'all are talking about race and whether she got babies in her laugh. God forbid a black woman be happy at work. That's the problem. God forbid a black woman be happy at work. It's just it's silly. It's silly. It's just really silly to me. Let me see what's going on in this chat. Okay, I don't see anything. All right. So now to the non-voters. And again, when I say non-voters, I'm talking about people who do not have the legal right in the United States to vote. I am not talking about people who are. I'm not talking about people who are undocumented, and I'm not talking about people who are natural, who have a green card. I'm not sure of like what that title is. Sorry for my ignorance. I'm not talking about formula incarcerated people who've lost their right to vote. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who have the right to vote and have decided to not vote in this election for the vibes. It's really for the vibes. Like, y'all have chosen not to vote in this election on single issue problems, and it makes no sense to me because that is not how life works. That is not how we choose our partners. That is not how we choose our friends. That is not how we choose well, some of us, most of us, that is not how we choose our professions. We don't go based on like a one single thing. You kind of go with what aligns with you the most. That's generally how we make decisions in life. So it's really interesting to me when people decide not to vote because of a single issue. And on top of that, there's never any strategy to that. It's just, I'm not voting because her foreign policy and, you know, she's not against the apartheid of Palestine. And as a Black Muslim person, that's really difficult for me to grapple with. Me fully pulling out of an election that is going to affect my Black Muslim ass in this country. It's a real weird act of me. I'm like, it just does not make sense for me as a Black Muslim person to make that decision because I see what, and I feel a lot of the harm of being a Black Muslim person in this country. I see the harm of the Republicans getting their way. They want this to be a white Christian nationalist country. That's what they're pushing for. That's what they want. That's detrimental to me in this country. So no, I'm not gonna not vote because I don't agree with foreign policy. I'm just not going to do that. And I have made the decision to not do that because I'm a Black Muslim queer woman. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. It's also interesting when people, if you see my Palestinian video, I talk about how Islamophobia and anti-Semitism work together for the apartheid of Palestine. And I talk about how I have always been aware of this conflict, have always wanted apartheid to end. October 7th is not when that began for me. I have, and I don't know, judge me for it. I have voted for presidents and vice presidents before who were outright Zionists, because every president is. Obama was a Zionist. Joe Biden was a Zionist. Trump is a Zionist. I disagree with Zionism. I want Palestinians to be free. I want the Congo to be free. But there is this idea of, like, I'm thinking about how do I assist people globally if I disengage locally? That's something that I think about. How? And maybe there's a way to do so. And if you know that way, let me know. I don't understand how I can provide community care for folks around the world if I also don't provide the self-care for myself. And that's the conflict that I have with that decision. And, you know, maybe y'all have some ideas on how to work through that. But for me, that's not a reason for me not to vote against a quick death of fascism and maybe a slower death of fascism, or a form of horrible democracy that still allow for people that I know who are actual organizers to do their work. The last organization that I worked for, when I was unemployed for a year, shut down because of budget cuts done by Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. So I understand how the democratic politics of stuff, even though I do feel that my pathways to freedom aren't democratic politics, but how that shit affects organizers and people on the fucking ground. It directly affects that. How do we buy time? How do we, unless y'all are ready to go to war and burn the shit down tomorrow, which nobody is. Let's be dead ass. Nobody's ready to fucking do that shit. So unless that's the case, I need to know what the strategy is besides not voting. Most people that I hear say that don't have any strategy after that. Don't have any don't give me any strategy after that. I'm very curious to hear what the strategy is if you're not voting. I want to know. I really want to know that. Are you organizing? Are you an organizer? There are people that I know who are organizing, who are organizers and do all of this stuff communally on the ground, who, because I do see them doing things for the collective, I don't feel as offended when they say they're not going to vote. I need to know what else you are doing to counteract the freedoms that are being taken away. I need to know what the fuck is the strategy besides I'm not voting. And the I'm not voting stuff is generally on a presidential level. I'm gonna put this on the screen. So when it comes to presidential election, it feels like it's too late. Like by the time we get there, all the options going to be trash. I absolutely vote in all elections throughout the year. Those are, let me see. Oh, those are the ones I think set us up better. Yes, thank you, Hazel, because I agree. So I was going to get to that. So we are like where we see each other. Are you voting? Are you organizing? Are you voting on the local level? Do you know when your town hall meetings are? There are people who are saying who they are not voting and not participating, whatever, and they don't even know where the fuck their city hall is at, and they sound town, city, or anything. What are you doing besides proclaiming to everyone that you're not voting? What are you doing? What else are you doing? I need to know. Are you making sure that the prosecutors that are elected in your city or town are ones that are less likely to imprison Black people? Are you voting for governors and mayors who are supportive of abortion rights, who are supportive of LGBTQIA rights? Are you voting for those people locally? Because like Jesus said, you can feel defeated and like it's doesn't matter for the presidential election. I don't agree, but you can feel that way. But do you see what happened with Roe versus Wade? On a state level, people voted on a state level for governors who were anti-abortion. They put laws and bills into place before Roe versus Wade was even overturned. They put bills and laws into place, trigger laws, that's what they call them. They put them into place so that when on a federal level Roe versus Wade didn't exist, all of them states automatically your abortion rights were gone. And the states that still have abortion rights, it is because on a local level, and granted, there is voter suppression, this and that, so I'm not putting this all on the voter. I'm just using this as an example. That because we had governors in place or whoever in place that were pro-abortion, we did not lose that right on the state level. Those local elections are important. It's all of this shit is connected. You might not feel a presidential election is important. It is. But for damn sure, locally, people do not have the right to abortion because on a local level, things were voted a certain way. We didn't lose Roe versus Wade due to a vote, but states did due to a vote. Due to a vote. Hope you understand what I mean. Yeah, yes, Kevin. This is what I'm saying. There are certain rights that I have here in New York City because of the way people have been voting on a local level, you know? And you're right, people are tired and it seems useless, but that's on purpose. That's by design. It's by design to make you feel defeated so you don't even engage. It's by design that capitalism is the way it fucking is, that you will disengage in this way. And I'm not yelling at those people. I know I sound really passionate because I am. These are my thoughts and my feelings. So I'm not here to beat on those folks or whatever, but it's not useless. And I think we have in our lifetimes proof as to why it is not useless. There are states that have lost rights. There are, because of people being disengaged, being too tired because of capitalism. It's not that they're tired because they just decided to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to discount that, but they're counting on that. They're counting on us to like be disengaged, to be so overworked that all we care about is the day to day. You know. Let me see. What is this? I live in Texas. I declare Republican, and this year I chose all the people that didn't agree with Trump's election for abortion. Let me be clear, not a Republican, but have to declare it. Declare it to get their ballot. Got it, Hazel. I'm also not a Democrat. I declare Democrat so that I can vote in local elections. That is the only reason why I am a Democrat. I wish our voting system wasn't a binary. Binaries don't work. Binaries aren't good. But I'm a Democrat so I can vote in local elections. I would probably be an independent or something like that. But I am a Democrat just so I can vote on local elections. Yeah, so I don't know. I and maybe I have answers, but I don't particularly know how I could be of any service to the folks of Palestine, of the Congo, or any other the oppressed nations of the world due to the United States. I don't know how I can be of service to them if I can't be of service to myself. I don't see it. I want to share a clip from when I was on Stranger Fruit. And I kind of go into this a little bit. So I want to play that for you. Rather than repeat it, I'd rather just play that for you. And this was the episode where, you see it, America, Democracy, or Fascist. And we were talking about strategy in this particular instance.
There anything like, have you sat down with this and had any thoughts to yourself that you just would really, really want to get across? Anything that you've thought in the process? Because I know that you are a thinker. And shout out to Jay. Jay, we miss you. But one thing that I really love about y'all is how much you sort of like, what you just did was you took something that was like can kind of be in the air, this idea of peace, and you made it narcissist because that's triggering for a lot of. And so I have a very real fear personally of what I know a Donald Trump is like. Biden, I think I call him Genocide Joe. I call him Jenny Joey. I get it.
I call him Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy. He's very tired. He's very tired. And I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that. Mm-hmm. But to be really, really honest, when I look at someone like a Trump, who is unfortunately also a megalomaniac and a sociopath and I don't like to call people narcissists because that's triggering for a lot of people, but as someone who is visibly showing signs of psychopathy, this is where it gets scary for me. A part of me is just like, burn it all down to the ground. Whatever. We gonna go wherever the fuck we gotta go. But it's also like, am I gonna like sit back and not vote? Am I gonna like what am I gonna do? And I don't have the answers right now, because even the other day I put on my threads, like, I am not, no matter what happens, I'm not voting for Jenny Joey. I refuse, because now I'm seeing these babies get fucked up. And now because in my big age, these are babies to me. And I'm like, we're just in a whole different, it feels different. And so a part of me is just like going between burn it down or like looking for my cape and trying to figure out, how do we save this? How do we sort of like appeal to a Biden's sensibilities when someone like Trump seems like he has none? And I'm wondering, for you, do you ever feel like that? Or is it just me, or you're just feeling like, fuck it all?
I always kind of feel like fuck it all. But that's not, what does that do for the collective? What does that do for the community? I do a lot of peace education work, conflict resolution work, or whatever. And there's I think it was a letter that Martin Luther King wrote one of the times when he was in jail, and he talked about the two different kinds of peace. So there's negative peace and there's positive peace. So negative peace is kind of like stopping the harm right now. So like a ceasefire is negative peace.
Okay.
Let's say you see a man trying to assault me, you make sure he doesn't. That's negative peace. So you stop the harm, but we haven't, as a collective, created the framework so that there's actual peace. So we haven't created the framework or the systems or whatever to make it so that a woman isn't harmed on the street. We haven't, and that's the positive piece, because that's the long lasting piece. And I think that we focus so much on the negative piece. So stop, ceasefire and this and this and that, and it's good for a temporary pause and harm, but it does, the longevity in that doesn't exist. And I think that because we go through so many cycles of harm, that when do you have the time? Well, there are people who do have the time, but how do you collectively have the time to proactively create frameworks and systems and then react to what happened the day before? And I think that what happens is, well, what is needed is that we understand everyone in the community's role in getting to the proactive piece. So there are people who are really good at the I'm using other language, but I'll say it. So there's people who are really good at the negative piece. So they're good at stopping the immediate harm and this and this and that. And that's great that they do that. But then there's also people who are good at creating the positive piece, the frameworks and systems that we need to put in place so that none of that harm happens again. And I think that a lot of times the people who go about the peace are not in alignment. And that is the thing. So if we could understand the people who are creating the frameworks and creating the systems, and people who like, I'm an abolitionist, I'm a this, those are long-term positive peace frameworks that I want. Right? But if you're doing that, and then the person who is only focused on a negative piece doesn't see the value in this, and a person who is doing a positive piece doesn't see the value in this, what are we coming together to do?
100%.
What results are we going to get?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's basically what I'm trying to get to, is that all of these pieces are things that actually, no, I want to put this on the screen because I think this is very important to note. This is a very important thing to note when we were talking about Roe versus Wade. So I wanted to make sure I put that. Biden could have did his thing too. And I totally agree. And also, I don't know if you were here in the beginning, is why I'm not pro any of these motherfuckers, but I do understand that there are many tools of strategy for this. I'm doing the long-term work, but some of the short-term work is me fucking voting and making sure that a fucking idiot isn't the president of the United States, because there will be more shit chipped away at as far as my freedom is concerned. It makes no sense that I've experienced more freedom than my little niece. That doesn't make any sense, but I did want to acknowledge this because you are absolutely right there. back to like the negative piece and the positive piece, I just want us to understand that both of those things are intricate things that we need. I don't think that one happens without the other. I use both of those pieces in my life as pathways to my fucking liberation. I say all the time, I don't fuck with democratic politics in that way. And I know that's not solely how I'm going to get it free. But what I do know in the meantime, in between time, is that as a black, queer, Muslim person, I'm one of the first motherfuckers they're going to fuck with. So I need to buy me some time while I'm doing this work. And something like engaging in voting does that for me. And that's why I cannot get with. I used to think that not voting was an okay choice. I don't feel that way anymore. I don't. I don't feel that way. If you're not doing shit, if you're not doing nothing, the least you can do is fucking vote. The least. I do advocacy work. I create content that does advocacy work. I do research and look into things and look into ways to help build healthy community for black people. That's something I enjoy doing. I understand that that's not something everyone has the scope to do, and that's fair. But I feel like the least you can do if you're doing nothing else is vote. And when you're voting, there's other motherfuckers on the ballot. Maybe you're not voting for the president. Okay. But what else are you voting for on the ballot? And then also, to be a motherfucker from New York or from a blue state and say you're not voting, you're not doing anything radical. You're not. Because that state is going to get the electoral vote. You're just being loud for no reason. I don't, I don't get it. Yes, Hazel, agree. My friend Diamond says this all the time. Vote for who you think it will be easier for you to organize with. But first, you have to be an actual organizer. I don't particularly hear a lot. Actually, I do hear a lot of organizers say this, but they're organizing. Vote for who you think will be easier to organize with. But yeah, these are all of my thoughts and feelings so far about this election. I dead ass want to skip to November because it's only been 2 weeks, and it's doing a lot, and I'm over it. And I just want to skip to November. Who am I fighting against? I need to know what motherfucker have we chosen for me to fight against? That's what I want to get to. I want to know who the fuck I'm fighting. That's what I want to get to. So yes. So thanks for joining me on this live. I know it's been a while. If you missed the beginning of this video, you could maybe I put in the timestamps of where I've been and why I've been away. I do plan to get back to it now that I have my job and my tech situation all figured out. I want to say thank you to all of the patrons who stayed with me, stayed giving me money during this time because I couldn't create. So I appreciate folks who stayed, and also because I didn't have a job, so it was really helpful for the money that you all was giving me. Someone donated me like $300 towards, I'm assuming towards like my tech stuff, and I think they Venmoed me that. I can't remember their name, but thank you for that. I had a few people hit me up on Venmo, some Cash App. So I really, really appreciate your support in that time. I do plan to do a video to talk about my year of unemployment and what that was like, and how capitalism fucks with your creator. At least for me, fucks with being a creator. So yeah, so we're gonna close this video. This is gonna stay up. So this is my welcome back to YouTube. Welcome back to doing content. Thank you so much for sticking around and joining this live. Remember, you are a bad bitch. You are enough. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.